All right, so this video is very near and dear to my heart, okay? This is a video called How to Stop Hating Yourself. Because I know many of you, deep down, you still hold a hatred towards yourself. This is something I've really had to work through over the past decades of my life. And this is basically two main things that I found work extremely well for changing this, because if you're gonna hate yourself, it's like you aren't even giving other people the opportunity to hate you. Like you just shut yourself short. And that is a damn shame, because you have one life, okay? So this video my goal is to help you not even have a single thought like that cross your mind. I'm gonna show you how you can get to that, right? One video ain't gonna be able to change that, but I will show you exactly what to do so you can do that, all right? So let's dive in, right? First, if you find, I remember for years, trying to build business, trying to work on myself, trying to improve my life. And I would jump around from job to job and position to position, trying to have a stable enough source of income to then also build on the side. And but I mean, this pattern stems back to even younger in my life, like going to school, like hating going to school. And then you just start at a certain point, you realize I don't know how to change myself. This sucks. And it's like I have no enjoyment in life. It's like apathy. And that can turn into this resentment towards life and this hatred towards yourself, towards others. It's mind-boggling, but that is what happens when you aren't clear, okay? So two main things that I found that work really well. One is you gotta know how to do shit that's really valuable. Because here's a quote. I'd write this one down. Right? Action alleviates anxiety. Okay, and anxiety obviously then down the road, it will morph. If it's not taken care of, it will morph into this building resentment and grudge just towards life. And you'll go into blame, you'll go into anger, and then hatred. So what do you need to do? You got to, realize you need some practical skills so you can actually start to deal effectively with reality. Because if you don't know how to deal with reality, you're gonna hate yourself. You're gonna be so confused, and then you're gonna think everyone around me just needs to change because I don't know how to change, so everyone around me should just change because I feel bad. You want it to change, but you don't know what to do. Okay, so here's some practical skills, right? One is you gotta understand yourself, self-awareness. How does your mind work? Where do your thoughts come from? Where do your feelings come from? Why do you have a voice in your head that talks to you? Where does your behavior come from? Why do you act in certain ways? That's basic, should be common sense information, basic common sense knowledge, right? Part of my goals is to get that to be basic common sense knowledge, where a standard education that every human gets is teaching you practical things like where do your thoughts come from, right? It all stems back to programming. So you got that, but then there's some other key things that you gotta master. You gotta figure out discipline, how to follow through on the shit you say you're gonna do. Communication skills, right? How do you talk to people? Persuasion skills. It's not enough to just talk to people. When you have something that's of value, how do you now influence or persuade another person to see your point of view? Okay? Relationships, learning the difference between men and women and how women want to be talked to and how men want to be talked to and interacted with, right? Because as you can do that and have a steady relationship, now your life gets way better, okay? So even just how to have community around you, build community. So practical skills such as those, you gotta figure out which of those is gonna be a bite-sized piece that you can start with. Because you can't go from I hate myself or once a day I have a thought of hating myself to getting yourself to totally enjoying yourself. It's not possible, okay? So that is part of it. Now here's the other part, is the ability for you to now go back through systematically into your past, which I know many of you don't want to look at. But guess what? You're gonna be looping in the past. There's something called a time loop, okay? If you had shit happen in your childhood, it wasn't even really bad, or maybe it was really bad. But if you're not able to go back through and then practice self-forgiveness in a very specific way, it's not enough to just go, oh, I forgive myself that, I was lazy when I was a kid, or I forgive myself that I beat up my friend one time. It's that's not effective self-forgiveness. Because within the very words, the sequence, the program of you saying that, you're not actually taking full responsibility of the situation. And that's essential, okay? Because right now, a big reason you're hating yourself is because you're still blaming yourself on other people and you're giving away your power, I know that might sound cliche to people, but literally that's how it works. If you really look at it for yourself and you reason it out, you'll see it. Is that giving your power away and not taking full responsibility, which comes from you either having a lack of education or real education, beyond school, right? Real education. When you can have that real education, that real understanding, and then now you can go back into your past, look at it, and then you realize, wow, here's an example what you could do. You could write out a list and say, why do I hate myself? And just rant. Or where do I still hate myself? Question mark, right? And then go back through, and then you have to use the self-forgiveness process. So if you don't know the self-forgiveness process, you got to reach out to me and just DM me the word self-forgiveness, and I'll show you how to do this. I have different videos and stuff that I can share with you. But the process becomes liberating, because then you can start to realize it literally doesn't make sense for you to hate yourself. But it's one thing for me to say that to you, right? But I understand human psychology, I understand sales, I understand how this thing works. I can't just tell you that, right? You got to see it for yourself. You have to gift that to yourself. That's why they call it self-forgiveness. You're giving it to yourself, the understanding. And so those are two of the main ways, right? So building the skills, right? So you can actually get shit done. Because as a human, if you're not contributing and you're not doing something, like, you're going to not be pleased. You're gonna end up either want to play video games, want to watch porn, want to just go mess around, go into the metaverse, whatever it is, because you become so apathetic and just pissed about life, because there is a lot of struggle in life. But it's like when you develop those skills, you can develop confidence, perhaps for the first time ever in your life. You know, and even some of the people I know, I have a guy that I used to, we used to do like business deals together. He lived in Hollywood Hills. I forget how much his house was, but it was millions and millions of dollars. It overlooked all of LA. It was amazing. And we would go to like parties there. And I remember just hearing him, how even at his level, right, where you think he's happy, right? He has models coming over his house, you know, great life, you know. I put that in air quotes for a reason. And deep down, right, he still had trauma from his childhood, and he still hated himself at times, and how he would keep putting himself into these cycles, right? So the money isn't necessarily the answer. It's the skills to get shit done. But that guy was making millions in his business. So it wasn't just those skills, right? It was then also this process of now being able to go back through, and just like you'd clean up a computer, right? Or just like you'd go back through an old journal and erase and then rewrite it. That's what the self-forgiveness process is, okay? And when you can have both of those things, and then you're around the right people to keep yourself on track, and then also have a clear vision of where we're headed. Because so many people nowadays have a sense of despair for the world because they don't have vision. And like the old saying goes, right? Without vision, the people will perish, okay? So this is like my bonus tip for this video, is you have to have vision for the future that makes fucking sense. Because if your vision for the future is, I just want to make money and retire and go golfing or whatever, it's like, that's a slow death, and you actually don't care about anything else, right? Don't get me wrong. If you want to retire and play golf and do that in moderation, let's say, sure. But you got to start to look at the reality of, look, we're all in this together, right? You, me, like, what are the odds you were born as you and I was born as me? Like, and you weren't born in some horrible situation where you have, you know, bombs going off every day. Or you weren't born in some kid who was born with cancer or something. Or maybe you were. But like, you have this precious gift of life. And deep down within you, the reason that you're feeling self-hatred is because you haven't actually opened up that gift and started to give it to other people. And that is the bigger vision that I want to help you unlock, but you got to reach out for that, okay? So it's something called the 7-Figure Vault, which has the most practical skills I've learned to date. And that's a free download you can get. It's in the description. And then you can also reach out on Facebook. And I'm happy to chat with people who are serious about wanting to change this. And just serious enough. Because I know at times, like, the depression's real. Like, I used to totally not be pleased with my life, like, especially during high school, college. I was like, this totally sucks. And it made no sense to me because I thought my life should have been good. And by all objective or reality, it's like my life should have been good. But because the mind is so insidious, there's so much stuff in there that can get out of control. So you have to take the reins, but I will provide some help, some insights into how you can take the reins, right? Even just some basic questions I can ask and things like that. All right, so I'm not even gonna say I hope this is helpful. I know this is helpful if you can hear it, okay? So I will see you in the next videos, and check out the other stuff on my channel. If you like this kind of thing, like subscribe and go like investigate, because I put out a ton of content because I see the world is craving for like common sense knowledge, right? Stuff that's real, just straight up, okay? So enjoy.